Charting Toward Intimacy covers mature topics. Listener discretion is advised. Charting Toward Intimacy covers mature topics. Listener discretion is advised. Hey there, welcome to Charting Toward Intimacy, where we're expanding the natural family planning conversation. I'm your host, Ellen Holloway. All right, here we are, back with another NFP in Real Life episode with Kathleen.
Hello, hello.
Today we are talking about NFP in marriage prep.
Just funny because, well, by the time this airs, I will have just finished an NFP talk at marriage prep.
Nice.
Over the weekend, yeah.
I am like knee deep in marriage prep right now.
You are.
I am. I think I should probably, well, let's give just a little background about like why we care about marriage prep, because we're both involved in marriage prep in our respective, well, I'll just talk about how I'm involved and then you can talk about how you're involved.
Perfect. Let's do it.
So I'm involved in the parish level. That's where I got started, was helping out in my parish with basically just giving the NFP talk. Like I was just like tired of crappy introductions to natural family planning. And I just reached out. I was like, hey, can I do the NFP talk? And they were like, yeah, sure. That'd be great. Like one less thing off of our plate.
100%.
And I do it on a totally volunteer basis. And then I got involved in the diocesan marriage prep kind of at the same time. And it just happened through a bunch of just, happenstance things that I got connected with our diocesan director, and we connected really well. We're really good friends now. And I just, I wanted to share my expertise and get involved. And I was also becoming an NFP instructor at that time. Like it was like everything was happening at once.
Yeah. That's usually how it tends to go, isn't it?
It is.
No baby steps. It's just boom.
Yeah. God just like opens a door. You know what? I'm reading Jennifer Fulwiler's book, One Beautiful Dream.
Oh, I love that book.
It's such a good book. And there's this hilarious part in the book. It's towards the beginning of the book. And Jennifer Fulwiler is like explaining her like conversion experience. And she's like, yeah, I expected it to be, lots of contemplative prayer in quiet chapels. And instead, God took all of our life plans, lit them on fire, gave us a big hug, and then threw us out into the world. Like,
amen. That's how it goes.
Like, that is how it goes with God sometimes.
It's so true.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was like listening to that book in the car. This is a total side note. And when she like read that part, I legitimately like tears sprung from my eyes because I was just like, oh my gosh, that's my life.
Yeah, it's so true. It's like relatable.
Oh, such a good book. Everybody should go read that book. So anyway, back to marriage prep. So I just kind of got involved like all at the same time and started doing the talk, was refining this talk. Actually, this podcast kind of came out of my association with the diocese and marriage prep, and we wanted more resources for couples. And so that's actually where this podcast came from, was a resource for couples on natural family planning,
so cool.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And and so then what that has morphed into is what I'm working on now, which I think I'll just pause there. I'll let you talk about how you're involved in marriage prep, because I think what I'm working on now is for later in the conversation.
Yeah. So, I mean, Michael and I, so hilariously enough, my husband and I started helping out with marriage prep when we were still living in Philadelphia, which we're outside of the Philly diocese now. But it was like less than a year into our own marriage.
Isn't that the best? They're like,
I know. I was
prepare
like,
couples for marriage. You haven't had any experience with marriage yet, but here you go.
But we were both working for the same parish, and the pastor of that parish was like a good friend, and the priest who presided at our wedding and everything. And he was like, oh yeah, you guys, we need your help with marriage prep. And it was like, bro, we've been married for like 4 months.
We don't even know what it means.
He's like, it's fine. You guys know more about marriage than most people. And I was like, do we? I don't know that that's true. So whatever, regardless, we ended up helping out with marriage prep. And we from the beginning have always been thrown into the NFP talk. It was like the talk nobody else wanted to do.
Oh yeah.
And like it was so clearly God just being like, this is going to be a really difficult and important part of your marriage. Like this whole NFP, which it is, it's been the hardest part of our marriage has been NFP. We have two totally different perspectives on it. It's something we're constantly trying to like come to terms with between us and come to an agreement on it. Like it is the cross in our marriage, 100%.
Yeah.
So
And
it's just ironic and
if you want to hear more about Kathleen's story on that, go back and listen to the first episode that Kathleen was on this podcast before she was a co-host.
Before I was a co-host.
When she was just a random lady I met on the internet.
Thank you, Instagram.
She shares her story of NFP and really the differences and just like mindsets and things around that. And it's a really fantastic episode.
Yeah. So I don't know. So it's just like ironic and hilarious that God is just like, here you go talk to everybody else about NFP. And it's like, are you joking me? But that's what we did. And it's what I sort of am doing it more because now with 5 kids, it's like, it's really hard for both of us to get out and do these things on a regular basis. So, anyway, when we moved outside of Philly, we got involved with, so in Philly, we were doing it just for our parish. And then when we came outside of Philly, we started helping out on the diocesan level, but we only really got one session in until like before COVID happened. And then they moved marriage prep online with COVID. And that's kind of where we are now. But I am working with the diocese now, sort of in helping to revamp like our marriage prep booklet that goes with, out to all of our engaged couples. And I'm still going down to Philly every once in a while to help at the parish level, at the parish that we were helping with. So it's kind of like back and forth. I'm like helping out here and there, like when people call me and need me. But yeah, it's always the NFP talk. That's what I've always been thrown into. I end up like having to like, I get like the angry couples.
Yeah.
Like, don't want to hear anything you have to say. And think you're totally
I've
wrong.
had some fun conversations with couples.
You know what I love about like doing an NFP talk in person? And I think it's so, I don't know, I'm very particular. Like I think the NFP talk should always be done in person and as little online stuff as possible.
That's so funny because I have so changed my tune, and I'll talk about that. You go.
Yeah. And like there is good online stuff for sure that they can be doing. And I think there's a place for it, but I love the NFP talk in person because if you look around the room as you're giving the talk, you can tell the people that don't want to hear what you have to say because they refuse to make eye contact with you. And so, I mean, that's always been my experience. I go around and I make eye contact with every single couple as I'm talking. And the ones that consistently keep like averting their eyes, I like dial in on even more. It's like, and not in a way that's like, not to make them feel guilty, but just to kind of be like, please listen to what I'm saying. Like, I am talking to you because this is really important. Like, it's important for your marriage. It's important for your growth and faith. Like, it's going to serve you. So it's going to be hard, but it's going to serve you so well in the end, And, but I love that. I love like making eye contact with the people who clearly don't want to be looking at me.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
But anyway,
well,
that's my favorite part.
So my tune has changed a little bit. And I've actually, because of COVID and because of the timing that I really got into marriage prep, I got into it like during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've actually never fully done an in-person NFP presentation. I've only ever done them via Zoom in a large group.
Yeah.
Or via this new system, which I feel like I keep teasing.
That's right. Yeah, tell us, what is this new system?
What is this new system,
Ellen?
All right. I was figuring it was going to come up later in the conversation. I'm like, okay, now I should just talk about it.
Just do it now, yeah.
So, as some of you guys know, I am part of the Given 2022 cohort. If you don't know what Given is, I'll put a link to the show notes for the Given Institute. Look them up. They're doing incredible work. If you are a woman who is ages 21 to 30, look into signing up for the 2023 cohort. But Given is an incredible institution that is working on furthering Catholic women leadership. And so members of each year's cohort have to work on a project. So my project is this NFP Basics program that I've created for marriage prep programs. And so this was actually, I had not intended this to be my project. Like God just sort of set it in my lap. Because I had created this system as a way to work through the issues we're having in our marriage prep program in our diocese right now. Currently, the diocesan program is like a hybrid program. So it's like half of the retreat is online, or like 3/4 of the retreat is like online via Zoom. Gag me.
Yeah.
And then there's like an in-person component where they like go to mass and have confession and like have one talk. But it's just like, oh, there's so much missing. And Zoom presentations for NFP are crap.
Yeah.
They're just terrible because it's so easy on a big Zoom call for people to just not pay attention. Even if you require them to have their video on and you require them to be sitting there, like it's so easy to not pay attention on a Zoom call.
So easy. Mm-hmm.
So the process that I created, and I had just created this for my diocese to like, this is going to work. So I recorded the video, a video of this talk. It's 45 minutes long, with really nice graphics and visuals.
Oh, I love that. I love it.
And so we gave the couples the video, and then each of them, so the man and the woman, have a survey that they fill out after. And that survey is kind of confirming, did you actually watch it? Because it asks them like, what's the most interesting thing you learned? And it asks them a couple of multiple choice questions that are like obvious if you watched the video.
Yeah.
And then the woman's survey actually asks her a bunch of questions about her cycle. We actually get into it, with different questions about, what's her cycle looking like? What is her interest in the video? They learn about the different biomarkers and, what's your interest in tracking these things, and, what's your confidence level in yourself for tracking these things? What's your confidence level in technology for tracking these things for you?
That's so good.
And then the couple has a 15 to 20 minute, debrief session, one-on-one, not in a group setting. So it's via Zoom, which is actually works very well in a one-on-one way, because the couple can't just like,
they can't zone out. Like, yeah, exactly.
Because I'm talking to them one-on-one. And this program has been incredible. Like, I mean, the responses that we got from running this, I just literally like threw this together and like threw it out to the diocesan director and was like, try this.
That's the Holy Spirit at work. That's
and
just a little this and that, threw it together.
I have couples that, there was this one woman, and actually I have permission to share her name. Katie, she talked to me in the one-on-one session and was like, wait, before we get into questions or anything like that, I just need to tell you this. Your video was so good. When we went to the retreat and we first learned about like NFP and like sexuality, we were just like, no, this is not a conversation. The church should not be involved in this. Like, this is a discussion between my fiance and I. Like, this is too personal for the church to get involved. Why would the church even care? And then I watched your video, is what she said to me. And she's like, I get it. I get it now.
That's amazing.
And she's like, I want to sign up for an NFP class. I'm ready. Like, this is amazing. I understand why contraception is not okay. Right?
Oh my gosh.
She
Look
is
at you.
not the only person who has said things like that to me. She is the only person who's given me permission to share those things.
Future patron saint of NFP.
Oh
Ellen Holloway, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh dear. If I'm on that track, I have a lot of trials coming at me.
That's right.
What is it? I think it's Mother Teresa who said, like, I know God will only give me things that I can handle. I just wish he wouldn't trust me so much.
Yes. I love that quote.
I love that quote.
And it's so true. I think any mother could say that ever.
Oh my gosh, seriously. But we were just, and I'm meaning myself and the diocesan director, in the Diocese of Oakland, we were just like flabbergasted. We're looking at these survey results of the things that these men and women are putting in there. We have things like non-Catholics saying, oh my gosh, I get it why the Catholics care about this. This was really interesting to learn. Like, I mean, and it's just, seriously, like I can't even put words to it. And like when I start talking about it, I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Well,
and that's when you know, like, the Holy Spirit's at work.
And you know what? I'll tell you, like, now, granted, we've just celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary, right? So, yay. So, you know, it was a while ago at this point. It was like, I mean, pretty much almost 11 years ago that we took, you know, that we did our marriage prep. And I know we're not unique in that we did not feel adequately prepared for like real life NFP practice.
Oh,
it was just
100%.
Like, we were both, you know, the real, like, faithful, committed Catholics. We know NFP is what Catholics do. So, all right, like, that's what we're doing. Like, we didn't have the question of like, well, do we do birth control? Like, we just knew, but we had no idea what it was like to really, truly practice it. Mm-hmm. We were not prepared for the resentment that we would feel, for the rejection that we would feel from each other. Like, we weren't prepared for like life in the trenches with it. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a lot of our generation that feels the same way. And so now, like, you and, you know, everybody else who feels like you kind of been a little bit duped or at least underprepared. Yeah. Are really making the moves to put the resources out there to make sure that future married or, you know, future engaged couples aren't going to find themselves in the same spot once they're finally married. And it's been a really cool thing. It's been something that really needs to happen in all marriage prep. I mean, you know, I think we've all been sort of, for so long, it was just taught as like rainbows and butterflies, right? Like, well, look at your fertility.
And for so long,
it's so beautiful. And
it was like, if we can just, all we have to do is get the couples to sign up for it and then they'll be fine. And that has not been working. And so like the one-on-one.
It's like a sleazy car salesman, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it totally is. And so the one-on-one aspect of this program has been the linchpin, really, is sitting down with a couple and having the opportunity to just, like, in a respectful way, just be like, what's stopping you? Yeah. Like, what can I talk to you about right now that you still have questions about? What is holding you back, right? And so I've had conversations about contraception. I've had conversations about church teaching. I've had conversations just about like how it even works real life. Most of the couples, honestly, have just been like, I just don't even know what is the next step? Like, how do I just start tracking now? Or, you know, it's like, no, okay, let's talk about like, here's the different methods and here's how you sign up for a class and let's figure out what method's going to work best for you. Like, I do that a ton with these couples in these sessions, is like, just like figuring out what's going to be a good choice of method for them. Yeah. Okay. I want to keep talking about this, but we should update on Magic Mind.
Oh, because we do need to update on
so Kathleen and I were talking about this before we recorded, and we both were just kind of like, so is this just a placebo thing? No, you're feeling it too? What?
Like, literally? Okay, so let me say that my husband was like, okay, there's no way this is going to work, because like, why wouldn't everybody just be doing this then? And I was like, well, it's a new company, right? Like, it's just start. Right. Like, what? We're giving it a shot. We're going to see how it does. And then like 3 days in, I was like, super energized. I deep cleaned my boys' room. In addition to like other things, didn't feel overwhelmed by it. Was just like in go mode. And then the next day I like deep cleaned our like attic playroom and reorganized it. And then like did like 1,000 other things that day. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I'm like 3 days into this Magic Mind stuff, which is what they say, like 3 days.
Yeah,
you like really feel the full
right.
effect, right?
You get like 100% of the effects 3 days in. Like taking the first one, you'll get like 50%. And then the like second day is kind of like 75%. And then like by day 3, you're like rocking and rolling. Yeah. Which is totally the experience I had too.
I know. And I was like, but I kept it in my head. I was like, just keep going and see like if this wears off, right? And then Ellen Marco Polo'd me and was like, okay, this Magic Mind though, like I've been really productive. And I was like, oh really my gosh, productive. Me too.
And like, let me share with you guys like why I'm like this. There's no way this is a placebo, because I just started my cycle yesterday. I am on day 7 in a row. No, I'm on day 6 in a row. I'm sorry. I'm on day 6 in a row of taking them. And so it was the last couple of days of my luteal phase, which are normally like hunker down, get through it, minimum effort. Like, let's just power through the last couple of days of the cycle and get survive, get to when I start feeling better and like start getting into that follicular phase of, you know, maybe 3-4 days into the cycle. Like that's when I start feeling better. Right. And I start having like energy and stuff like that. No, you guys, I redid my entire website. It looks fantastic, by the way. Go check out ellenholloway.com.
I previewed it.
I redid my entire website this week. I got a bunch of cleaning done. I also like whenever I pick up my daughter from school, I'm always just like, okay, I'm tired. Like, let's get to rest time. Like she goes to a half day program. Like, let's get to nap time. Like, and we just like kind of power through that hour in between. No. What was I doing yesterday? We were playing preschool circle time songs and I was dancing along and jumping along to this song that just goes jump, 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 jump. I was jumping along with her.
I never have that energy.
Full of energy. Like, I mean, just crazy. Yes. And I'm not, it's not like this kind of fake energy that coffee has where I like start getting a headache later in the day or something. Like there's been no like drop off. Like it just kind of like, you know, you just wind down toward the end of the day. Yeah. It sustains you through the day and there's no like drop off. But anyway, okay. So Magic Mind, you can get 20% off of a one-time purchase with the code intimacy20. And you can get for the next 10 days, you can get 40% off of a subscription with that code intimacy20. So basically you get like 20% off plus like 20% off of the subscription that you already get a discount with the subscription. So you can only get that like special deal for 10 days. So go to magicmind.co/intimacy. So that's magicmind.co/intimacy, INTIMACY, and use the code intimacy20. Links to that is going to be in the show notes. But you guys, like,
just try it.
Seriously, try it. We are like so flabbergasted.
We are flabbergasted. Yeah.
And like next week, we're going to update you on like another week. And so we'll see how this next week goes. I mean, like, this is honestly, we're shocked, you guys.
I mean, like, let's just say, okay, I'm 3 months postpartum with my 5th child. Okay. Yeah. And like,
and you deep clean
at this stage in life. And like, I have been deep cleaning my whole house. Yeah. It's like unbelievable. I don't insane. Hate it either. I'm not like forcing myself to do it. Like I want to be doing it.
Yes.
I just like have the energy.
We're shocked, everyone. We're shocked just along with you. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. So, so this marriage prep program, this episode wasn't exactly supposed to be a advertisement for my new program, but
that's what it turned into. Something really good that seems to be working, and
seriously, it is
that's
like
what we need.
It's incredible. And so actually, like if you are involved in marriage prep at all, please send me an email because I have this program packaged and ready to go. It is like it is set up to where a marriage prep program does not need to do any additional work. There's no onboarding. There's no training, because I have a team of coaches that are doing these debriefs. So myself and a couple of other young women. And we are, we just like, the whole program is just like a insert into your program. You can just add it as a checkbox, and know that the couples in your program are getting an incredible introduction to NFP, and they're getting help taking their next steps. So whether that is signing up for a course, because not every couple is going to be ready for that. And that's okay. Like, it is our job to, bring the horse to water. We can't make the horse drink. That is the Holy Spirit's job. That is God's job. And I think a lot of times in this program, I'll get kind of like flustered when a couple is just like really not into it. But here's the thing is, it's like, that's not my job.
No.
My job is to give them the truth, give them the information, and the video, it really does that. We talk about fertility science. We talk about NFP, but we also talk about the theological basis for it. We talk about theology of the body as it applies to sexuality and marriage. We talk about the marriage vows and how, like, the wedding vows that they say is what they are speaking with their body when they come together. And that like blows people's minds. And I know a lot of marriage prep programs already talk about that. So I'm not saying that like any of this is like what you're doing is bad. I'm just saying that like what we've found is that when this is just inserted into a program, and not even like, don't even take out your NFP talk, like let them hear it twice. Like, people need to hear things like it. The average is like 7 times before it like clicks into their brain. So like, don't even change your program. Just insert this in. Just add it in as an additional requirement. And
that's so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing incredible results over here in California, you guys. In California.
Seriously, if you're seeing some results over there, I think it's pretty good odds for the rest of us.
Seriously.
Well, and like you said, like, it's your job to, just like speak truth. Right. And to plant the seeds, and maybe, these couples will kind of be like, just no, like, we're not doing this. Thanks, but no thanks. But down the line, they'll remember, like, they might come to a point where they're just like, you know what, like, maybe there was something to that. And they'll remember, and they'll go back and do it, look into it later on, which is fine. Like, it's like, well, it's the St. Augustine quote, I think, right? St. Augustine, who says the truth is like a lion.
Oh,
set it free and it will defend itself.
Right.
It's like, that's all you have to do is put truth out there, set it free, and then God does the rest.
Well, and that right there, the whole like truth is like a lion thing. Not that I like live off of that quote, but like that premise.
Yeah.
That is why I do not recommend that programs require a full course of instruction. Yeah, I do not recommend that, because I've taught couples who are required to do a full course of instruction. I've taught them the method that I teach, which is Sympto Pro. And I mean, I legitimately had to go through 3 full classes with a couple that sat there with their arms crossed and told me in the second session that he had a vasectomy. Right. And it's like, we needed to be having a very different conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, and a conversation that I was not equipped to have. Like, they needed to be having a conversation with a good priest.
Yeah. Well, and it's also just like, when we are doing outreach in any way, we always, and even just in parenting, right? Like, when we're like doing an outreach within our own family to, raise and parent our children. I loved Father Mike. I got this from Father Mike, doing the Bible in a year, that like, God is a good father, and he never forces us to do anything. And I think that's a really important thing to emulate when you're doing any sort of outreach. You cannot force people to do anything, right? Like, that's all we can do is to put the truth out there and to allow them to choose. So yeah, I think it's a really good point. Maybe, if you want to require an introductory session or exactly what you're
something
doing,
like this,
basics, right? Like, That's perfect because that gives them a little taste and then they have the opportunity to choose from there. But yeah, to like be sitting there teaching an entire 3-session course to a couple that is zero interest,
Yeah.
it's like a waste of everybody's time.
Well, and they were resentful because they had to pay for a one-on-one course, right? Like I charge a premium for one-on-one courses because their program required them to take a one-on-one course.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they were resentful for having to pay for it. They were resentful for having to spend all of the time to do it. And they didn't do any of the work. Like they didn't chart. I didn't do any chart checks with them. I literally just like gave them information and they just like sat there. And it was just awful. But we are coming up on time. We should probably wrap up. Well, anyway, if you're involved in a diocesan or parish program, email me. And I want to connect you up with this program because it's been incredible. The results we're seeing, and I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to show you a sample if you're involved in a program. So yeah, please email me. Links to those are going to be in the show notes. If you have comments or questions about the podcast or future episodes, please reach out to me on Instagram or email me. We love hearing from you guys. Until next time.
See you guys.